Yes, indeed. There seems to be some confusion between foreign interference and freedom of expression. They seem to use these terms extremely selectively. And like you said, Trudeau, when he last year came to India for the G20 summit, he had made these allegations and he had recused himself from the G20 dinner and stayed away from everybody. And there were allegations that he had come in a plane full of white powder and whatnot. But the mention of Pakistan that was made earlier, that's interesting because, you know, the ISI seems to be working with the Canadian government. You may recall that in 2020, there was a lady, a Balochistan activist called Karima Baloch, who was found dead in Toronto in 2020. She was murdered, obviously, and there's been no proper investigation into her death, and clearly the ISI has some involvement over there. And after this current fracas has ensued, the entire Five Eyes architecture is being activated in a very selected and phased manner, which makes us wonder as to what's going on. I mean, the Khalistan problem is not exclusive to Canada. The Khalistani terrorists are being sheltered in the US, in the UK, and even in Australia. And this entire ecosystem is being activated. So it looks like there is something bigger going on. There's a good cop, bad cop ploy going on. Canada is currently the bad cop. Trudeau is the crazy one, but there's a good cop somewhere over there. Maybe it's the US, and they are trying to apply some pressure on India to get certain things done. For example, there's this issue of penetration of Starlink into India, which could be a major national security threat. And maybe this is a pressure tactic to make India accept and allow Starlink to come into India and other things as well. So there's a whole lot that's going on. This is not an isolated one-off thing. It's a global kind of thing, and the whole Five Eyes architecture is being activated, and many people have remarked about this. So there's Canada, there's the ISI, there's the Khalistani terrorists, there is the entire Five Eyes architecture, there's the United States that playing good cop versus Canada's bad cop. So overall, it's about targeting India, it's about hampering the growth of India, it's about targeting Mr. Narendra Modi, Prime Minister Modi, trying to tarnish his image, and that's not worked. They wanted, through the Canadian allegations, to make him look weak and bad, but the exact opposite has happened. So good job, I would say. Your entire ploy has now, been turned on its head.
Now, what happens to Trudeau after this, Daniel? He just said it, that I made it all up, essentially, or even if he hasn't said in as many words that I made it all up, he says, I have no evidence. What happens now to him politically because of this?
Nothing. Now, there might be other things that oust him. So Justin Trudeau is so deeply underwater. You know, the amount of scandal to scandal to scandal that we've gone through in Canada. I mean, he should have not been allowed within 500 meters of the Parliament after the SNC-Lavalin scandal, in my opinion, but we continue to go down here. So right now his party is polling potentially in 4th place. Canada's a very liberal country, okay? The Liberal Party is the default party of Canada. It produces the most leaders, but Justin Trudeau is currently in a position right now. It's a first-past-the-post system, where the Conservatives are polling better than the Liberal and the NDP combined. This coalition he entered with Jagmeet was a death knell for both parties. For complicated political Canadian reasons that would take another 5 minutes to explain, but you're just going to have to sort of ask him on various things. There's a great irony, though, that you might enjoy. Currently, set to be the official opposition in Canada is the Bloc Québécois, a political party that's French separatists that only exists in the province of Quebec. They don't even run federal candidates in any other province, because who would vote for the Quebec province? They're projected to become the official opposition because Justin Trudeau is so deeply unpopular. Now, the only things that can really oust Justin Trudeau now, because he could always be saved in a coalition, in a confidence vote by either Jagmeet Singh, a Khalistani separatist, or the French separatists if he promises them enough concessions. There's an internal caucus revolt from Justin Trudeau, where we think that over 20 MPs are trying to sign a letter to get him to resign. If there is enough pressure put on, and then these MPs sort of become public, will the amount of Liberal MPs who want Justin Trudeau out reach the number of the threshold and then to sort of block a confidence vote? So if there's enough MPs, and if they become public, there could be a situation where there's enough of a break in his own party to make him lose a confidence vote. That would trigger the end of his sort of reign as prime minister. Now, if you say, like, what's the potential benefit here? The way I see it is Justin Trudeau's plan to me has always been to be a global jet setter after, a global citizen, to prance around at the UN and be just a less serious version of Greta Thunberg, running around telling you that diversity leads to climate change because of racism and you need to pay more taxes and whatever, buy this book that someone else wrote for me. By appealing to the most hardline ideologues, either radical leftists, Islamists, Khalistanis, whatever it is, I think he sort of increases his sort of book buyer base. Someone might buy 2 million copies of Justin Trudeau's book to support the cause when he gets out of office because of all these sort of things he's done. These are likely the political calculations going on in Justin Trudeau's head right now. So there's really nothing he can do to win an election. His party's going to get smoked anyway. You could say maybe he's trying to secure the Khalistani vote so the Liberals can maintain official party status and still get a lot of tax dollars. That might be one thing you could say, but electorally, the country he is so incredibly despised by at least half of the country